Welcome back to the Build Show. Another PC. Yeah, I know. Altered to go. Hey, what's up? Welcome back to the Build Show. Typical viewer, welcome back. Well, what are we doing today? We already have a PC that's built here. That's kind of weird. So what are we doing? Well, if you look closely, and if you look outside, or at least check the weather app on your phone so you don't have to go outside, thank goodness for technology, this PC is getting too hot. So we had Jacob come by today, and he dropped off the PC because he says it just keeps going to a black screen when he's gaming, but he could still hear the audio. This is typical signs of the computer, or graphics card should I say, is getting too hot, and it's shutting off. So typical signs of this happening, especially on Gigabyte cards. I actually have two PCs in here right now doing the same thing. Same exact results, which is while gaming or doing anything that's GPU intensive, if it's too hot, the PC will continue to play, but it'll just display a black screen, and then your GPU fans will ramp to 100%, but display nothing but a black screen. That's usually the sign of your GPU got too hot, and it shut itself off to protect itself, or it's already damaged. There could be damage that has already occurred, but I believe the card still works because we were able to test it in an AC environment, whereas Jacob does not have air conditioning. So he's in a 90-degree environment right now here in Michigan, and this is kind of when it all started happening, when weather got warmer. So we believe what we can do for this system, if we look closely, this is an older style case with an AIO mounted to the front. What this does is it takes the heat from the CPU and dumps it into the case, so that the heat from the CPU has to travel through the case to this one single exhaust fan. So all the heat from the CPU gets dumped in here and mixed with the GPU. So that increases the GPU temps. So that's not going to help the GPU. This is an older style case designed from maybe 5 years ago. It's quite old. So we really don't see this much anymore with the front mounted radiator. What our plan is to solve this problem is to get more airflow, but not in this case. We're going to do a case swap. So we're going to swap this case for an Okinawa Aqua 7 that I have ready to go. Hey Godzend, welcome back to the Build Show, sir. Hey, what's up, Joker? Yeah, you got all the air going. It's hot, of course. Yeah. Hey Goku, which is better for gaming, Gigabyte B650M gaming plus Wi-Fi or MSI Pro 650A Wi-Fi? Both are good boards, but I would say the Gigabyte B650M gaming plus Wi-Fi is a good board. No hat. Yes, I am not wearing the hat right now. Don't know why. What's up? My case has a front mount for an AIO. Yeah, and it's still okay to do that, but when you don't have AC, you need to basically maximize the cooling as much as possible. So our plan is to go with the Okinawa Aqua 7 case and move all of this to that new case, and of course mount the AIO to the top so that it exhausts the heat out the top. And what this is also going to do is introduce a ton of new intake, specifically for the GPU, with the bottom fans and the side fans all intake. It's going to provide a ton of cool air, or at least ambient temperatured air, to the GPU, and I hope that this is going to solve this problem. We're also probably going to take the GPU apart and just check the thermal paste on the core. We want to see if the thermal paste is hardened up. I'm pretty sure it probably has, and we'll also check the thermal pads when we're in there too. If they're too bad, then we'll replace those as well. Are you going to put the stickers on the new case? I am not going to transfer the stickers, so the stickers are going to stay. We are not transferring the stickers. Which, there's quite a few stickers on this thing. How do you typically charge for a case swap? Case swaps are pretty much an entire build, or a unbuild and rebuild, so it's the base build fee is what I'll charge for this. And then we might be using some thermal paste on the card, but for the most part, and also new thermal paste on the CPU. But for the most part, I mean, you're unbuilding a PC and then rebuilding a PC. That's your typical flat fee build fee. That's what I recommend charging anyway. If you go much higher, it's kind of dumb. Oh yeah, replace that thermal paste. You know how to do it. Oh yeah, I do. The iGPU, or exclamation point GPU. Are you looking for my GPU? Typical viewer? It's usually about 100, 150. Yeah, my build fee is 150 here. Which is pretty fair, since it's less than Micro Center. It's like $50 less. Micro Center charges like $200 or $250. That's their build fee. It's like, ugh. Somebody could go check their website, but I think it was like $200 last I checked, 200 or higher. So that is our plan for the night. This is a project that came in today. I know I said I wasn't going to be streaming today, but because this project came in, I was like, you know, it's a good candidate for the stream. Why not? We can stream it. Just didn't get to the stream until late tonight, so I apologize. Typically, I try to start a little earlier. This past week, it's just been crazy, so I've been starting late. I've been having some late starts here, so do apologize for the late starts. And hopefully somebody catches this video and gains some value from it, especially if they're having the same issue. My recommendation is just take the leap, go to a better case, especially if you're in an older style case like this. And it's going to definitely help with the cooling. Future-proof the build itself, because it's going to be in a bigger case, in a more modern case that'll house all the modern hardware. So he's going to future-proof his build while doing it as well. Future-proof the case anyway. But how's Max doing? Max is doing good. He's just down here snoozing. I'm pretty sure he had plenty of his dinner, and now he's just hanging out by me. Maybe one day the YouTube channel will get big enough, and then I don't have to charge people for the service. Hoping it gets there, right? All right. We'll start by taking this PC apart. We'll clean some of the components that need to be cleaned. So everything's coming with it except for the case and the fans. So yeah, we'll just start taking it apart. Hey, Jacoby. Hey, man. Jacob. Okay, gotcha. Jacob here. I definitely look forward to seeing the transformation happen while you're watching it live. Does Max eat table food? Sometimes, when he's not supposed to, but he gets to lick plates here and there and might get little bites and treats here and there. Do you know what RTX model is that? I believe this is a 3070? Yeah, it's a 3070. So it's a GV N3070 Gaming OC 8GD. Probably Gigabyte's WindForce model, I'm assuming. Gaming. It's a gaming card. Alright, so let's go ahead and start taking this thing apart. Excited to not throw that on the ground. Oh yeah, plate fit. There we go. GPU out. We don't really have to remove anything from the board except for the cooler block needs to come off the CPU, and then the Wi-Fi card, and also the GPU. It wasn't even screwed in. That was just in there. Nice. So, not a whole lot that we have to remove here. But we're going to still do it thoroughly. Looks like we have two SATA devices as well. We've got everything pretty much unplugged from the motherboard now. We just need to undo the block and then wipe that down. Curious to see what the thermal paste is like, because I feel like I pasted this the last time it was in here for him. It needed it. This is not the first time this PC's been here. This PC was here for a storage upgrade, and I think there was something else that we did to it. Maybe Jacob, if you remember what we did. I could go look back, but... a little bit of a stutter there. Amazon has Lian Li V100 at retail for $74.99 right now. That's a pretty good price. Nobody saw that. Cleaning the bottom of that cooler so that the paste doesn't get everywhere, you know? Paste wasn't too bad, I would say. It was getting a little dried out, but probably had a couple more years on it. Maybe another year. Okay, so this is a Core i9 9900K. With DDR4 memory, and I think that's 32. Pretty sure it's 32. And then we also got him a Gen 3 SSD at some point. We did that upgrade. I think that was last year or 2023. When we did that. Love how the panel doesn't have any. I think this is a Fantex case of some sort. Yeah, this is definitely a Fantex case. Lots of cool stickers on there, though. Lots of cool stickers. So, we need to identify where some of these cables are so we can remove them. Corsair fan hub back here. Or Commander, whatever these things were called back then. Maybe that's the original. A little dusty. Yummy. Oh, I should probably, should have said something. Let's move my face out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. That's better. Yeah. What's for dinner? We had shepherd's pie for dinner tonight. Brought to you by Mrs. Empower. Got the drive removed. Okay. Now that we've got all of that released, for the most part, we can pop this front panel and drop the radiator out. Oh yeah. That thing's dirty. We'll also need some radiator screws, which I have. Because we're going to be mounting the radiator and the fans not to the case like it's currently set up right now. Welch, so dirty. I know, she's a dirty radiator. Very dirty radiator. But we'll clean it up before I put it in the new one, the new case, of course. I'm going to actually probably stop and clean these after we get the motherboard out. So we'll get everything out, and then we'll clean everything, and then we'll get the new case out, and then we'll put everything back in. Here. Out of the way. The cleaning pile grows. Okay. Now, our motherboard is free to come out of the case. Let's go ahead and remove the motherboard. Which, if we look closely here, we're actually missing a couple of screws. 1, 2, 3 screws missing, 4 screws, 5 screws missing, which is interesting. If it's a PC that I worked on, I would have fixed that if I saw it. That means I probably didn't see it, or maybe I did put the screws in and they fell out. Ugh, fuck. Fudge knuckles. You're gonna need some special brush for that? Yeah, I'm gonna need something that disinfects. No, I'm joking. Okay, that should be all the screws. Total of 4 screws out of the 9 that you could have installed holding this board in. We'll make sure we clean this up and, of course, put the proper screws in when we go to put it in there. Good deal. So, with that being said, I am going to step away from the camera, and we are going to clean these parts as we prep for the new case. But in the meantime, if you want to make fun of Jacob's stickers, you're more than welcome to. So here they are. Take a look at Jacob's wonderful stickers that he probably spent years piling on here. Let me know what your favorite sticker is while I go clean these. So the GPU is actually relatively clean, so I wonder if Jacob already cleaned that. Pretty clean. So we're gonna move on to the next one. But I just wanted to show you a quick trick. Usually what I do for things like this, especially when it's really sticky dust, is I'll use a paintbrush while I'm blowing air on it. I'm not going to do that in here because it's going to kick dust up. I step outside while I do this, so I highly recommend taking it outside to do this. But I use a cheap paintbrush, and it's, you know, fine enough to get in here without really damaging anything. These are pretty soft brushes, so it's not gonna like break anything while I do this. But this is what I use to clean all this up while I blow it out. If I absolutely have to, especially on a radiator, and it's really sticky, you can run water through it, and soap if you have to. But don't do that unless you absolutely have to. So I'll go ahead and clean this up. But paintbrush, nice little trick to help clean your PC. So you guys can get a before and after. Here's the back of the fans that I'll get to next. So this is without soap or water. There's still, you know, a little bit of stain right here on the middle and around the edge, but I mean it's pretty clean. There's no dust. You can see right through it. So it's about as clean as I'm gonna get it, unless you take it and actually wash it or soak it, which I don't recommend doing it unless you absolutely have to. That is the radiator. Now for the fans that we're going to reuse. We're going to get these cleaned up, but this is what they look like now. Wait until you see them after we're done. All right, we're back, and these fans look a lot better. This is just with a paintbrush and an air blower. That's what you could do with it. Still a little off-white because of the stains from the dust and the dirt sitting there. So you could wipe these down with a damp cloth and kind of clean them up a little bit more, maybe with a cleaner. But that's about as far as I'm going to go with them. They've been in service for quite a few years. Is he going to repaste the GPU? I am planning on trying to repaste the GPU, yes. We'll take that apart and do repaste, and we'll check the pads. Is a 5060 for $340 good? 5060, 8 gigabytes should be around $300. If it's $340 with the tax included, yes, that's a good price. Or right around the price that you would expect to pay. Or close to it. But that was in a question, is it a good price? Yes, that's not a bad price. Is it the right card for you? I don't know. What do you plan on playing? You have a 1080p monitor? Yeah. Listen to Joker. He knows what he's talking about so far. Sounds good. Hey, Burden, what's up? Welcome back to the Build Show. I don't know what else you guys have been chatting about. Chat kind of goes up, and it's kind of crazy, so... Alright, so, likes reminder. Thank you, Sadie, sometimes. I'm going to also clean the motherboard off, and then we have the power supply to clean. And I should probably just blow this hard drive off. It's a little dusty as well. So we'll clean this real quick, too. But the last thing I want to do is, you know, put dirty parts in a new case. I don't think we need this Wi-Fi card because there's a Wi-Fi built into the motherboard. I'll double check that when we get to it. Alright. So for the motherboard, there's got a little bit of dust buildup here at the top and on the sides. Usually I'll just use a paintbrush again to clean up around all the areas where dust sits and then blow it all off. You don't really need to get too crazy with the motherboard. I don't recommend getting too crazy with the motherboard, just because it's really easy to be really, you know, being crazy and bumping a capacitor or something off of this board. So it's really easy to break something. So be careful with this while you're handling it. Try not to be putting your hands on the bottom. At least where I'm touching, I'm trying to touch where the IO is, or the side of the board, or touching where the RAM, though you shouldn't do that, or where the, you know, where things are that you're supposed to touch, not where things aren't, or you shouldn't be touching directly on the board. So just something to think about, you know, when you're cleaning your next PC, if you pull the board out to clean it. Here we go. I'll be right back. I'm going to clean the board. All right, so we've gotten that cleaned up. A little bit of thermal paste thumbprint here. Clean that off. There we go. Got it pretty cleaned up. That motherboard looks pretty much new. But basically you brush on the sides that collect dust. So, with that being done, let's go ahead and get our power supply out, because I never removed that. And then we can toss this case aside, never to look at it again. This just needs a quick blow, maybe a wipe down, and we should be good to go. Hope nobody's making fun of that term. Save the front panel with all the stickers. Ask him if he wants it. Yeah, we should frame it for him. Call it the first PC. Well, he gets the whole case back if he wants it. If he doesn't want it, I'll just probably donate it to somebody. Alright, so that was pretty quick and easy, just a quick blow in there, and it's good to go. So, any last words with the really gross case that's leaking stuff out onto the bench, such as a dead ladybug, a stink bug, 2 dead ladybugs, a stink bug, and a fuzzball. Oh gosh. Nice. I want to seal this thing up. If I donate to anybody, I will clean it. Okay, new case time. So this case is actually a brand new case, except for I went to do glass etching on one of the cases that I had. And on that case, the glass got scratched. It was a deep scratch. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. Maybe. A little bit of a scratch right there. You can see it. It's a pretty deep scratch. It's not a crack. It's just a scratch. So I had to buy a whole new case to get the new glass panels. Or to get this glass panel. And then I took the scratched glass panel and put it on the new case. And then I sold it to him for a pretty good discount with the, you know, scratch on it. So he got a pretty good price on this case. It was just a simple little scratch on the glass, and he didn't care. So he was pretty okay with the scratch, didn't care about that. But I did have some stickers on it, and it looks like the stickers left some goo, so I'll make sure I clean that up. Alright, but this is the Okinawa's Aqua 7 that we're going to be moving him over to. So hopefully this will be enough airflow, right? Nice little bug enclosure you have. Oh boy, they're going after it. Sorry, I didn't realize it was so dirty in there. It's embarrassing. Don't be sorry, man. Everybody's computer, if they haven't cleaned it within the last year or two, I guarantee, looks exactly like that here in Michigan. I don't know about other states, but Michigan, there's always like ladybugs or Japanese beetles in there or something. Hey, what's up, Jack Boy? Hi, I'm about to build my first PC. Welcome to the Build Show. Feel free to follow along. We are just doing a case swap, but we're starting the complete assembly. There was a mosquito on the case. I had the door open for like 2 seconds here in Michigan. Mosquitoes are like the birds from Finding Nemo. Mine, mine, mine. But we're going to be doing a full build here. Basically, this is an Okinawa's Aqua 7 case, so I don't know what case you're starting in. Well, let's race. Can you help teach me how to build my first PC? I mean, if you watch enough of my live streams, because all I do is build PCs on my live streams, I'm sure you'll definitely know how to build a PC. And you can also join the Discord channel if you run into any questions while I'm not live. You could join by typing in !Discord in the chat, and it will spit out a link to the Discord channel. If you'd like to join, I think that's the best way to get quick help, especially while you're building a PC. Remember to have fun, most important thing, yes. Always have fun while you're building your PC. Don't get discouraged. If something's not fitting or working, just ask. Don't be afraid to ask a question. There's a lot of places that will kind of shun you for asking questions, and I hate those types of places, so we don't like to think of ourselves as a community like that. We like to jump in and help. Steve, welcome back to the Build Show, and thank you for dropping the Discord link there. Yeah, I'm learning my lesson right now to keep my PC clean. It wasn't as bad as, it wasn't that bad, Jacob, actually. It was actually not bad at all. Other than the bottom having quite a few dead bugs, but other than that, it was actually pretty clean compared to some other PCs that I've seen. So, not bad. And your PC's been running for years, so that's pretty good. Alright, so on the back here, we have our CPU, or I'm sorry, our fan hub, which is hosting a power for our fans throughout the case and our RGB on the fans throughout the case. We're going to synchronize that to the motherboard so that the software can control both the fan speed and the RGB. He does have a mixture here, so he'll have a mixture of the Asus Armory Crate software and the Corsair software to control his RGB, because he has a Corsair cooler and an Asus motherboard that's controlling all the RGB. So let's go ahead and get started. This case has all the studs in place already. 9 studs. Rule them all. And then we're going to drop the Maximus XI, which is 11 Hero, Maximus 11 Hero, into the case. What I didn't do, which you would have had to do, Jackboy, is install your CPU to the socket, install your RAM, and install your SSD. I installed the SSD, or I did not install this. This came out of a PC that we just took apart because we're swapping a case. So we're doing a case swap in this scenario. So this all did not have to come off the motherboard. So I left it on there so I don't have to do it on this stream. But there are other live streams that I do complete builds on. Most of them are. So I'm going to go ahead and try to put this in here. A little bit of a tight fit under that fan. But it lines up nicely. So let's go ahead and get our case hardware out, which was on the back of the case. This will contain all the screws that I need to mount this motherboard to the case. So it should be pretty easy. This thing's gonna look pretty dope when we're done. The dopage meter is going to be off the charts. Alright, so 9 screws to rule them all. Lord of the Rings quote, if anybody's too young to know what I mean. And we just built in this case yesterday. So should be, you know, fresh in my head. We should plow through this pretty quick. The only thing that's gonna take a little bit of extra time is when we go to take the GPU apart and check the thermal paste. Make sure that's in good shape. We don't want to put this GPU back in here without getting the opportunity to service it. And of course, if it's a paying customer, we don't want to let this go back without doing everything possible to solve the problem of the overheating GPU. Sorry, you can't see when I'm leaning in, but this is an awkward position to get the screw in. Oh my gosh. Just move on. It's a little bit difficult getting these bottom screws in with these bottom fans already installed. I'm not gonna lie. Right now, considering taking the 2 fans out. But we're getting it. Takes a little bit of physics to get it. Takes a little bit of physics to get it. And then my magnetic screwdriver wants to like magnetize when it wants to magnetize and unmagnetize when it wants to unmagnetize. It kind of has a mind of its own. All right, we got it. There we go. So next, what we do want to do, because this is a non-modular power supply, is we want to make sure we get our EPS cables, which powers our CPU, up here in this top right corner, plugged in before we mount an AIO. So that's the next step I'm actually going to take, is install our power supply because it's non-modular, and run those cables so that's done. We don't have a situation where Ben's fat fingers have to get in really tight places. We'll do that. Mount this power supply. Pretty easy to do. The 4 screws on the back. Kind of hard to show you guys with the camera angle, but I just lined up the power supply with the case standing up, and then there's these 4 screws that'll mount, and I have the fan facing downwards. That's because the bottom of this case has a nice mesh panel here for the power supply to be able to breathe. So just make sure you have that on the bottom of your case if you are mounting the fan down. If you don't have that on the bottom of your case, or where the power supply is, you will probably burn out your power supply relatively quick. So don't do that if you don't have that. Next, we have all of our front panel stuff. I did notice that this motherboard does have USB-C, which is great because this case has USB-C, so it lines up perfectly. But we do have a USB 3 header all the way down here, so we will have to take this bottom fan out to get to that header. I don't think we'll be able to do it without taking that out. Let's see here, we have an addressable RGB header here, and there's our front panel and our HD audio over there as well. So yeah, we'll probably have to take these bottom fans out. I tried it yesterday and it was a pain in the butt. I recommend, if you're in the same situation that I'm in, just take the fans out. Take a minute out of your day. You won't be fussing as much at the PC that you're trying to build and enjoy if you just take the fans out. Okay, we have PWM fan header there, so we'll run the fans there and the RGB there. This hub synchronizes to the motherboard. We do need to get that plugged in. We're going to be plugging that into the bottom of the case here. I do like removing these stupid stickers that says do not connect to the pump header. They're ugly, and I don't want them in my build. I remove them. And we'll split the cable because the RGB has to go here. The fan header has to go here. No, it doesn't matter that much. Unless you're OCD like you. Just got a good board, or a good brand like Seasonic. Yeah, Seasonic's pretty good. This is actually an EVGA bronze, 80 plus bronze, 750 watt power supply. It's a great power supply. It was one of their more inexpensive models that got the job done. I used to use them a lot. And of course, I don't use the EVGA as much because they're just, I think they're phasing out. I'm going to remove these 2 bottom fans really quick. And then, oops, I dropped a screw in there. And then we'll get all these cables plugged in that we need. Which reminds me, I want to also get that Corsair hub plugged in as well when we have these out. But then we'll put these fans back in after we get all that plugged in. And won't be as mad. Or I won't look like I'm losing my mind while I'm doing this. Because I'm taking the time to do it. EVGAs are good as long as it's not their cheap 2-year warranty model. I think that's what this is. But I mean, it's been running for a few years, so... Yeah, I used to use EVGA a ton. I don't use EVGAs much anymore. Alright, so we've got a power switch here. Hoping this is the front panel. Feel on that. Get this USB connection in here for this Corsair hub. If we don't, I'm gonna hate myself. Yo. Now we just gotta get this side. I know you guys can't quite see what I'm doing. Promise I'm not just twiddling my thumbs. Trying to do this as quickly as possible so I can get you guys back in queue. Maybe one day I'll have more camera angles. Okay, we got all our cables plugged in at the bottom there, which is awesome. Now we just have to put the fans back in, and then we can move on to the next step. Remind me to plug the power supply EPS cables in, which is why I put the power supply in the first place. Haven't done that yet. Prowler! Second PC is a 3400G with a 1080 Ti OC Strix. Works great for 1080p gaming. Yeah, that's pretty good, pretty solid build. For 1080p, probably rips through it, no problem. Sagitap 650 watt 80 plus gold certified non-modular. What are we talking about there? Oh, you bastard. Oh, you now everything. Hit its limit today. But it's okay. I'm an IT guy, so we have redundancy. All right. Let's mount these fans. Oh, nice. Come here. Okay. Now, I want to actually run these SATA cables here to the back. Those are done. We have both a hard drive and an SSD to install as well. Go. Got those in. Run our power cords before I forget. These are PCIe or EPS. Oh yeah, that's our commander. Forget that. And our 24 pin will run up here because we know that's where our 24 pin is at. Okay. Yeah, it looks about right. Chaotic. All right, got our CPU cable plugged in up there at the top. And now what? I'm out of chips. So, like, what about AMD Ryzen 5 9600X and Ryzen RX or Radeon RX 7080 XT and 32 gigs DDR5 with 1 terabyte NVMe? Yeah, that sounds like a good build. If you need to stay 1,000, you can go with something like a 5500 and a B650 E motherboard. I think he meant a 7600 on a B650 E motherboard. That CPU will work, but barely. You could definitely do a 9600X on a B650 for 1,000, but you're not going to get the 7080 XT in that build. And no, the 5500 would be a major bottleneck with the 7800 XT. Pretty decent bottleneck from the 5500. The Ryzen 5 5500 is what I'm saying, if that's what you were talking about, Joker. Is this PC good? Is this PC case good? Gam Diaz isn't bad. It's just really cheap metal. So if you push on the panels of the case, you're gonna feel they're gonna feel really cheap. It's very cheaply made, and the case fans probably last about a year, and then you have to replace them because they start making noises or they stop working. So just keep that in mind with that brand. Love all EVGA stuff, yeah. It would be a B550 if you're using a 5500, my bad, bro. Yes. Just wanted to make sure we're not confusing people with the, it's easy to get confused with all the numbers. Especially if it's not something you do day to day, you know. I'm just correcting because I just want to make sure we're not confused. Yeah, B650E and the 7600X is going to give you more options. Yeah, way more options. It's gonna set you up on a AIM-5 platform, which is going to be good for at least the next few years. So it gives you a lot of upgrade options in the future, more future-proof. So getting to AIM-5 would be ideal. The Ryzen 5 7600 or the 9600X would be a great processor to start with. Excuse me. If you can't find a B650, then the B850 would be the next step up from there to get. And of course the X670 and the X870 if you want a more higher end board for more future proofing. And the X870 would be the better of the two of the X series because it has PCIe Gen 5 support if you buy one with PCIe Gen 5 support. So just something to consider for future proofing. I'm running Ryzen 5 3600 and RTX 2060 right now. I mean, it's still not a bad combination. It probably still plays everything in 1080p just fine, right? Or pretty close. No point on going from a 3060 to a 5500. Yeah, that's a lateral move. I agree with you. But definitely make the jump up to a, depending on what motherboard you have, Jack Boy. What motherboard do you have? It would be much better to go to the AIM-5 platform where you're at right now, I think. That'll give you the most bang for your buck. Because if you buy a CPU and another question, Jack Boy, do you have a Micro Center nearby you? Ryzen 7 5800X 3D would be good, yeah. Hey, what's up? It's Roy. Welcome back to the Build Show, sir. Jesse and Lee over on Facebook, thank you for the likes. Yeah, that's our best option upgrade right there, buddy. Yeah, oh yeah. The Ryzen 7 5800X 3D would be the best processor on a B450. Although, you are limited because of the motherboard chipset, you're limited to PCIe Gen 3. So PCIe 3. You don't have PCIe 4.0 support, which that CPU would support, but it's not that big of a deal for you if you're just gaming. But if you're streaming or doing some video editing, it might be a bigger deal because of the benefits performance-wise on storage on an M.2 drive with PCIe Gen 4. It's a lot faster on PCIe Gen 4 if you have the PCIe Gen 4 SSD. 5800X 3D will last you till AM6 comes out. Pretty close, yeah. I would say it would carry you. It would carry you through the generation. It's a great option, regardless. It's gonna definitely help you the performance of the system. But if you're going with a whole new build, Jack Boy, I would recommend. I do have a Micro Center near me. Oh, that's even better. So if you do have a Micro Center near you, go take a look at their motherboard CPU RAM bundles. You can get a Ryzen 5 7600, a B450M. I know it's a micro ATX motherboard, but just to give you an idea, and 16 gigs of RAM, DDR5, 6000 CL36 G.Skill Flare X5. That kit or that bundle is like 240 bucks, which is you can't even buy an AM5 CPU motherboard bundle at the same performance at that price. So it would be better just to go to that bundle. And they have other bundles there too, like bigger CPUs and ATX boards and stuff. Take a look at Micro Center's CPU motherboard RAM bundles. It is worth it if you're doing a large upgrade. Yeah, you're not going to beat Micro Center's price. Yeah, this board looks really nice in here. Hey, what's up, Steve Anderson? We're doing a case swap, so we started out with another build, and we're moving it over to the Aqua 9, or I'm sorry, the Aqua 7 by Oculus. And The main reason was the graphics card was getting too hot in the case that he was in. He had a front mounted radiator, which is this thing over here, and it was dumping heat into here, or into the case, but he also doesn't have AC. So the ambient temperatures here in Michigan were like 90 degrees yesterday when all his problems started. So it was, it's definitely temperature related. So we need something with a little bit more airflow to dissipate the heat faster. So this thing is going to definitely help that happen, or make that happen. So now that we've got all of our power cords plugged in, we're pretty much ready to install an AIO. Let's get that installed. First, we have to locate new radiator screws and put these fans back on the AIO. So it's going to be mounted like so. So we need our fans cables on this side of the radiator. When I flip it, it's going to be on this side of the radiator. Our fans will be facing this way, crossed, and the cables will be facing me to install them correctly. Then drop all our screws in here, get these fans mounted, and then we'll locate some new radiator screws to get this thing mounted. And then we'll get this mounted and move on to the next step, which is pretty much just installing the storage and then tearing down the GPU to repaste it. Then we get to test it. Although I'm in an AC environment, so I really wasn't able to reproduce the issue here, which is how we came to the determination that temperatures are the problem. It was 116 degrees today. Holy smokes. Where are you at? In Texas? You gotta be in Texas or Arizona, I'm guessing. Texas, because I know there's a Micro Center there too. Maybe Florida. But it was 90 degrees here in Michigan the last couple days. It was hot. It's not just 90 degrees heat, it's 90 degrees humidity, with humidity. So it's like being in Florida. Although Florida humidity is like twice as bad, so. But we're also a peninsula state. Lots of water. So anytime the heat goes up, the humidity goes up. It's pretty bad. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is actually really want to wipe these down a little bit more. Towel. Just want to brighten them up a little bit. Yeah, that really helped brighten them up a little bit. This side looks a little bit brighter than that side. I don't know if you can see it, but I can. A little better. Not as good as it's gonna get. Alright, so now we need some radiator screws. I think these will work. As long as they don't fall through. Oh. Yeah, they'll work. And then I'm going to pull this cooler all the way to the back so that it's lined up more with the back than the front. It would just make more sense to do that, to draw the air towards the back. There we go. Hands are a little bit off-white, you can tell. They've been ran for a couple of years, or a few years. Not much we can do about that. Get some thermal paste on here. This is Thermal Grizzly Cryonaut Extreme. Anybody is wondering why it's pink. way too much? It's not way too much. There's a method of farming when they use canals to get fertilizer all the time. Oh, you love eating way too much. Welcome back with more food. Some will never know hands that are so... their hands bleed trying to clothe them. What are you talking about? Only good farms. Okay. I like anything that puts food on the table. Oh, yeah. And farmers do that. They do. Oh, no, yeah. I listened to it when after I cleaned it. It's fine. There's liquid in it. That setup looks 300 times better. Yeah, doesn't it? It's amazing what $80 will do, case-wise. Unless you're paying somebody to do it, then it's more. But it's amazing what 80 bucks will do. Go from what we were looking at earlier to this. All right. So we don't have anything to really help mount this guy. I'm thinking we zip tie it. We have to take this off anyway. We have a SATA SSD that we have to mount. One's a little dusty. A little wipe down. Clean it up a little bit. We'll have our SATA SSD on there, and then we'll mount our Corsair, well, the best of our abilities with our zip ties. I don't think I have any double-sided tape. I intentionally did not mean to do that. Nice. Clean. Okay. So now that we got that installed, we can get our SATA cable plugged in too. Then we have a hard drive, which this cage is removed by 2 screws on the bottom of the case. Just remove the 2 screws, and then you can remove the cage to install the hard drive. This does look really nice. I like these type of cases, so do I. Super good airflow, too. Very impressed. So you just take the cage out, and then we're going to slide the drive in and mount with the 2 screws that we need, included with the case. You can install up to 3 screws on each side. I'm going to do 2 on each side. That should keep it pretty secure. Remember back in the day when I used to live in the danger times, and I got sick of spending so much time undoing screws, I used to only do 1 screw on my drive just to hold it in place. It was terrible. Hey, what's up, Luke? Welcome back to the build show. Not sure when you joined, but welcome back. Just saw you, Tat. Making Ant-Man proud right now, Ben, with the hard drive tray. I know. I was gonna wait until he said something. If you did say something and I missed it, I'm sorry. Look, Ant-Man, there's a hard drive in the hard drive tray. We'll be able to stuff those cables in there. Hey, Ben, good to see you. Good to see you, too. Alright. Set of power. Check. I may as well plug in the RGB controller, the RGB hub as well. Then we have another SATA SSD. Now he's going to complain that I put a hub where the second SSD would go. That's what he's going to complain about next. Wait and see. Let's go down and there. All this. BH. Alright. Now that we've got all of our SATA plugged in and our SATA powers plugged in, all of our front panel stuff plugged in. Oh, I've got this SATA. I said all of our SATA. Not most, all. That means you too, dude. Get over here. Okay, now that everything's plugged in, the only thing left to repaste a GPU. You guys know how that goes here. I'm not even gonna screw around with these cables here. I guess we also have to route these somehow. Wait till here, but should have thought of this before. How do we get these through there? Right, please. Okay. CPU cables. Now, all we got to do is this guy. Let's repaste, shall we? Hey, Pork Explorer. Welcome back to the Build Show. Make sure you plug in the SATA RGB cable, Ben. Thank you. About once or twice a day, I got to go back in and adjust the fan curves because of it. Ben, what would cause the software to go back to default settings? So it crashing on startup, and the only thing that's changed is the fan curve for the GPU. I have no other software installed for curves. So it keeps getting reset to default? That's kind of weird. What software? Jackboy, look at it as a learning opportunity. Yeah, computers aren't that complicated, Jackboy. You can fix it. Don't throw it away. Fix it for your grandma. Who said for my grandma? Jeez. For the Gram is older than the world. Yeah. Gotcha. The adrenaline software? I don't know why it would be resetting. I've never seen that before. I don't have a ton of experience with the adrenaline software. So, you know, those weird quirks, I don't get to play with that. So I'm on NVIDIA. My daily driver's NVIDIA. I'd be interested in figuring out what it is, though. If I were to guess, it's probably an AMD adrenaline issue. Like a bug. There's other softwares you can use out there that'll control the fans as a workaround if you need it. Alright. So we're going to take this apart and make sure the thermal paste is good underneath to give this card the best fighting chance it possibly could have in the 90-degree ambient temperature. It doesn't shut off on us. By doing so, we are breaking the warranty sticker here. I'm pretty sure this card is, if not already, out of warranty. I'm pretty sure it is already out of warranty. Should be coming apart here. Double checking. The fact that it doesn't want to come apart tells me that this paste and these pads are probably shot. So these show me that they're screwed in on the other side, so the back panel probably doesn't come off until you get the main cooler off. So a little bit of pressure and then you can get it undone, but typically it shouldn't be that difficult to take this off. Once we get it off, you're going to see a bunch of cables hindering you from removing it completely. So we do have to unplug these carefully. This one's going to do exactly what I don't want it to do, which is not release. Oh boy. There we got it, finally. But these pads are pretty shot. I can tell you that right now. They've lost their will to fight. And this thermal paste is drier than the Sahara Desert. And I don't even know what that looks like. I'm not even going to try to take these off because all we're going to do is repaste and repad real quick. This is going to be pretty simple. We've got a pad here, 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 and here. And then two here. These actually don't look too bad. But the memory pads definitely need to be replaced, and the thermal paste does as well. And this looks like half inch or half millimeter, so 0.5. I'm pretty sure I have some left over here. Pretty sure we have 0.5 left over. some thin stuff. If not, we have something really close to it that we could use. Probably use that one. One looks like the right thickness, close to it. So we'll clean these up. I'm going to leave this one, and this one. I'm going to replace these three and clean that up. So really what you want to try to do is roll them up like a Tootsie Roll if you can. These are really bad though, like beyond recoverable. They're gonna come off like gum, kind of like the last one we did. So this is gonna take some time. Let's zoom right on it so you guys can see what I'm doing. Is the entry level RTX GPU worth repasting and replacing a thermal pad? Yeah, if it's bad, yeah, definitely. He speaks. It's not a major issue, just annoying. Gotcha. AMD and driver issue. Name a better duo. I know when it happens because my PC will boot the BIOS instead of Windows. That is very interesting. Eve Anderson, no, this is the primary issue is Jacob brought his PC in for service because it was while he games, it would go to a black screen. You could still hear the audio of the game, but the GPU fans would ramp up all the way to maximum 100%, and then you would just get nothing but a black screen, but you could still hear the game running in the background. So it's still running. The PC isn't crashing. The GPU is shutting off, and I think it's 100% because of heat. And after taking this apart and finding completely dry thermal paste and these thermal pads being completely shot here, I am fairly certain it is the GPU 100% overheating. We also switched him over to a better case with some better airflow. That'll help him. But he's also in a non-air conditioned environment, so his ambient temperatures here in Michigan are around 90 degrees right now. So it definitely did not help the situation at all. And that's when he started having the issues. Only cool kids repaste the GPUs. Right? Yeah, you shouldn't be scared to do this. It's relatively easy. I think the biggest thing that you want to worry about is just being very careful or gentle around all these small components here when you're cleaning it up. Try not to like just rub into things because it will break things, especially if it's an older card. Heat will make the durability less, so it'll become weaker. So as you're rubbing around on things and cleaning it up, you might easily bump something and it pops off, like a capacitor or a resistor or something. The other thing is removing these fans from these fan headers can be a little bit tricky because these just want to pull right off the board, the connectors, the little pieces of plastics. And the other thing is it's very easy to pull the cables out of the connectors here if you're pulling by the cable. So don't pull by the cable. Always make sure you're pulling from the plastic, not the cable down here. Plastic, not the cable, when you're disconnecting the fans, especially on older GPUs. So just be gentle when you're doing it, but don't be scared to do it if your temps on your card are really bad, because it will refresh the card and give it some new life. You know, if your card's overheating, it's thermal throttling. And if it's thermal throttling, then you're definitely losing performance on the card. Hey, Complex, good morning, Empower Gaming Computers in chat. Good morning. It is actually midnight here, so technically it is morning now. Yeah, I think the 5070 XT was pretty close to the 2070. You had a lot of problems keeping the 5700 XT cool. Yeah. That is strange. Yeah, I mean, good work done. Thank you, Luke. So we're just, you know, solutions engineers, figuring stuff out, solving problems. Yes, at typical viewer, is the entry level RT? Yes, I would say so, yeah. especially if it's heated up. You know, you want to repaste it, get some new life out of it, keep it from thermal throttling. Sure. I mean, some of the newer cards, entry level, like the 4060, 3050, those cards are really hard to hit those high temps. So it's less likely that you're going to have to repaste those types of cards because they're just such low voltage cards. There's not a whole lot of wattage running through them. So they're not creating a ton of heat, which doesn't, you know, create this problem. But these older, like the 3070s, 2080s, 5700 XTs, those had a lot of wattage running through them. So they generated a lot of heat, and they had to get dissipated, so these thermal pads and thermal paste wear out way faster. Austin, welcome back to the Build Show. Using my son's account, I don't remember my password to my original account, LOL. Oh, I'm sorry. You okay, Max? Hey. You okay? Oh. Go eat something you weren't supposed to? Uh-huh. Yeah, look like you're in trouble. All I said was, what's up? Mr. Max is getting in trouble. Could you paste the chips instead of using pads? Absolutely not, no. I know some of the newer cards, they've got this weird paste putty stuff that they're trying, but that stuff, in my opinion, is crap. It's just messy. Hey, just a reminder about the AIO, it'll flash red when it's turned on, but still cools my CPU. Pretty sure that happens since I've got the computer. Okay, well, we could take a look at that and see if we can get that fixed. You okay, dude? Max has got problems. Said Max has problems. He's over here. All right. Hey, what's up, Austin? Mikey Mike. Oh, gotcha. Welcome back, Mike. Mikey Mike. Yeah, I'll take a look at the flashing red on the RGB of the AIO. I think it's a Corsair thing. So once we get that completed, we'll get it fired up. We'll get in, we'll take a look at IQ and see if we can get that sorted out. Okay, so that's getting picked up at Max. He got problems. Got into something he wasn't supposed to. Alright, so what I like to do here is sometimes use a flathead screwdriver to help kind of pick it out. Just be careful. But this stuff, typically you should be able to roll it up like a piece of gum. And if you're not able to roll it up like a piece of gum, then it's well past time to replace it. But you do want to get all of it off, because if we keep it on here, it's going to hinder the performance of the new thermal pad. It could create air pockets, and air pockets with thermal pads are bad news. You don't want air pockets with thermal pads. This stuff is so bad, it just wants to thread. Doesn't want to come up as one piece. Like, disintegrating as I touch it. And we really don't want to do that, because it makes a big mess. So slow and steady wins the race. The better job I do right now trying to remove this, the easier it is going to be to clean this up. All right, and I just want to check this one. The weird place to have one. I mean, that was pretty. This one's actually pretty good. I don't think I'll even replace it. It's actually in pretty good shape. These seem like they're in pretty good shape too. By touching them, you can feel it. You can feel that they're going to just roll up like a piece of gum. That's usually a sign that they're in pretty good shape. This one's on its... yeah. Not too bad. I guess we should just replace it. Just replace it. Yeah, it's disintegrating here a little bit. Definitely not as bad as the other ones. That one came up way easier. Same with this one, just peels right off. That's what you should be able to do. I'm not going to replace that one. That's such a weird one, and it feels like brand new. So, we're going to use some alcohol to clean these up. Alcohol and a paper towel. It'll clean it up, and then we'll move on to adding some new pads and some paste. Ah, shit. Shoot. Somebody saw that. Nobody saw that, right? Woohoo! Now we have an extra large alcohol stain on the pad. See, this stuff should not be that sticky. That's why we're using one of these to clean it off. That's just a little teeny tiny support pad. I'm not too worried about that. Those come off all the time. So the heat's so crazily hot that you can't even read the memory types anymore on here. It's all worn out. Then if you break up the thermal pad or thermal paste and it gets in an area where you can't reach it without worrying about damaging something, you can always get some air and blow it out. Which is what I'll have to do for these here. The thermal pads dropped into tight corridors there. Now we have to clean this side of it real quick. Shouldn't take too much. I'm actually just going to use a paper towel to do this. Okay, and now it's to repaste and repad time. Nice and clean. These don't have to be like perfectly priced, or price, I was just reading a word. Oh, I'm gonna click it. Don't click it, Roy. But they don't have to be perfectly sized. Just covering the majority is the important thing here. I totally screwed that one up. Haven't done that in a while. Trying to get these things peeled. Peel for me. Dude. One's a little bit more important because we have to get one down in there below it. So I have to trim this one. All right, and the last thing we got to do is paste. You're hoping for green pads. I went with the Intel blue. And then we close it up. Really, you just want to line up the screws here. And also don't forget. And there we go. GPU has been repasted. So let's install this GPU. Repasted and repadded for the record. What kind of thermal paste was that? So we were using Thermal Grizzly Cryonaut for the core, and the thermal pads I think were Thermalright or something like that. Thermalright. Used a dot on yours? Yeah, you can use a dot, you can use a line, you could use an X. As long as it spreads, it's good. Alright, so with a freshly pasted and repadded graphics card, I think we are going to solve the issue of this PC going to a black screen while gaming. I went to a black screen, but was still playing sound in the background or in his speakers after it went to a black screen. And made it so that, you know, if he was in a Discord call, he could keep talking to his friends, but couldn't see anything. Black screen. Also, the fans would ramp up on the graphics card to 100%. That's another sign that the graphics card was overheating. We've moved them to a new case, and we repadded the graphics card. This should solve the problem. Now keep in mind, for those of you who joined and weren't here for the rest of the stream, he does not have AC, so it is running ambient temperature, and here in Michigan it's like 90 degrees right now, so it's super warm. So, get our cables plugged in. I'm gonna get one zip tie here on each of these cables to hold these pigtails off to the side. And then one last zip tie here. Try to hold them together. What I'm trying to do is keep them off the fans down here. It's going to be a little bit of a struggle, I think. Have to put something in there to keep it from rubbing on the fans. So we'll see. Another zip tie. Back side section. Stay off those fans. Through settling cables. Alright, that's about as good as we're going to get. But really, the rest of the build is pretty much done. I think we are so close firing this up. Dude. I did say I was going to clean that front glass panel, so I'm going to do that real quick. Got some fingerprints on it. And some gooey stuff, thicker, back when I was using it for another project. This is don't want to forget these. And then you forgot that you installed those, then you're like, oh, that's nice. There we go. Nice and clean. All right, who's ready to see this thing fire up? Might even be able to go to the capture card. That's it. Jacob is okay with us sharing the screen to the internet. Let's go. Yo, Empower, if you're doing an intake fan, but still want the aesthetics, do you use reverse fan? Kind of mixing it up here. Jackie Hunts, so these are all reversed blades. The bottom and the side are all reverse blades. So those are all intake. But yes, yeah, if you want the aesthetics and you want intake on the side or the bottom, as an example, you would use reverse blades. Move that bus, says it's Roy. Is Jacob still here? That case probably needs a GPU support bracket. Yeah, this GPU has been in service for a while. This card probably could use a bracket. So the GPU has been running for a few years, or a couple of years anyway. But yeah, I agree. There's a little bit of a sag there. Ben, can you get rid of the scam that's in the chat? Who's the scam? Onra? Oh. Some giant idiot will come around unless he passed out. I think I made Roy a, didn't I make you a... Hold on. You went to bed? Gotcha. I missed that. It's okay. You're a mod on YouTube? Gotcha. I will have to fix that for you. Yeah, man, I hear the PC's looking slick. Are you ready for me to turn it on? Jacob, you gotta tell us to push this power button, Jacob. It's on you, man. You gotta say, hey, fire it up, Buttercup, or something like that. I don't care. Whatever you want to say. As long as this ends with turn it on. Oh yeah, Jim, a lot more airflow compared to the other case. Just waiting on you, Jacob. Jacob says, let's get it. So we're going. In 3, 2, 1, Buttercup. You know, I'm a boomer. Punch it. I have an L bracket that'll fit this. We'll put the L bracket in and zip tie those cables to it so it stops leaning on that fan. Oh, there's the flashing red that you were talking about. Fire it up, Buttercup. Yardy. It's alive! Jacob. I'm going to take a look at your Corsair stuff while we're here. See what it's doing. Are we allowed to share your screen, or are there sensitive materials on your desktop that you don't want us to see? We don't want to see driver fix, though. That's kind of scary. It says air, H100 Elite, pump failure. Interesting. So I'd say your AIO might be shot. It's telling me that the pump has failed in the Corsair app. Oh, you know what? I put the pump... I think I put the pump in the wrong spot. Might be why. 1 second. Hopefully my fingers don't get cut off. Restart the Corsair software. Oh, update available. Restart now. Yeah. That's a good idea. Except I just unplugged the internet. Here's while we're at it. Oops. Well, it's Asus board. It's the Maximus Hero 11. And they've got the pump, the CPU opt, and the CPU fan all in one line. And then they've got the labels for them way off to the side, which is kind of weird. You know. But, I think I just put it in the wrong header. I'm hoping that's all it was for the pump. Kind of like the red flashing AIO pump. That's probably why it was, probably worth restarting the computer. IQ is a bit of a headache. Well, it just updated, so it's restarting IQ itself. Had to reinstall. It doesn't look like it's been open in a while. Nice motherboard, yeah. Alright, let's see if it detects the pump this time. Still telling me pump failure. Pump failure detected. Please contact support. What's the pump running at then? 0? Yeah, I don't feel any vibration whatsoever on the block or the pump or the hoses. No vibration. So the pump is definitely not running. But our CPU temps are surprisingly good. At 39 Celsius at an idle for a 9900K. i9. Pretty good. How old's the pump? Normally lasts like 5 to 7 years. Jacob, how old is this AIO? Because we might have to replace it. I didn't catch that earlier when we looked at it today. Roughly 2 years. Damn. Yeah, I wonder if it's still under warranty. I wonder if that's why it's forcing it to flash red. Because it won't let me change the RGB on it. Yeah. It won't let me change it because it's warning you. It's a warning. That's why it's flashing red. It's a Corsair thing. We can't even change the RGB on it because the pumps failed. It should be, but still. Yeah, I know. Do you want me to see if I can get another AIO? Let me go look at some prices for you. So when we're looking at prices for these things, we gotta remember that I think this is LGA. What was the 9th gen CPU? 9th and 8th gen? LGA 1155 or 56 or something like that. It was just before 1200. There's a Montech. There's actually a Montech AIO over at Micro Center that I could pick up tomorrow. It's a Hyperflow addressable RGB 360 millimeter. It's white, so it'll match the case. It's a 360 millimeter, so it'll actually fill out the whole top portion here. That thing's $100 plus tax, $99.99 plus tax over at Micro Center. If you wanted to go look that up at Micro Center. But I mean, that's one of the cheaper ones that supports this 9th gen socket. A lot of the newer ones don't even support the older sockets anymore. They don't come with the brackets. Damien, might as well get a 360. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. If we were going to replace it, we would definitely put a 360 millimeter in there. Yeah, it's cooling the CPU for now, but we're really not doing anything. We're just idling in Windows. And I bet if we let it sit over time, the liquid temperature would keep increasing like it is. Corsair is reporting that the liquid temperature's gone up. So it's going up. Temperature's going up. Maybe the pump is moving liquid, just not where it should be. But that's why it's flashing red, is because it had a pump failure. And it's trying to get your attention. Curious if we can at least just run a GPU test here. GPU is idling at 46 Celsius. 44. That's not bad. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I didn't catch that it was a failed pump on this when we looked. But, I mean, the other alternative is to go air cooler if you wanted to. It's a cheaper solution. Thermalright Peerless Assassin would be a good air cooler. Those are like $35-40 for a white one. The other option is, if it's under warranty, you could contact Corsair and see if we can get it replaced by Corsair. You got the AO for lack. Not gonna lie, it's pretty cool. The Corsair cooler does that to let you know the pump is failing. It is pretty smart to, hey, I'm gonna disrupt your pretty RGB to tell you that there's something wrong with this component. Or airflow, so maybe I could go back to the fan. Yeah, you could definitely go back to the fan, but I know we went to the CPU, I think you went to the AIO because the case was a problem. Now that the case is not a problem with airflow, I mean, this thing blows a lot of airflow. You could definitely run a Thermalright Peerless Assassin in here with a 9900K. And then we could just, I have some white fans I would throw in here for you too, to fill it out on the top. These, some nice looking coolers out there, cheap. Yeah, I know. We could also order, you know, a cheaper alternative, if you can give me a day or two to order it on Amazon, is a Thermalright Frozen Note or the Aqua Elite by Thermalright. Those are like $55. That's a 360 millimeter AIO. Those are actually really good. I build with them a lot. And they are pretty good. It's just they're not local here at Micro Center, so that means you would not have the PC done for at least a couple days, because we'd have to wait for it. Yeah, we would at least make the two top fans here. If we put fans at the top with an air cooler, you would make the two top fans exhaust, and this very front fan, this is a little trick with an air cooler. You can flip that around or get a reverse blade and make that intake. I know it sounds weird, but it works, and it actually, there's a benefit to the air cooler if you do that. Screws up the pressure or the airflow a little bit, but I mean, with that CPU cooler sucking it in right there, it's just going to suck the air in. Yeah, let me know what you want to do, Jacob. But we can't fix the dead pump. That's one thing I can't do unless we replace the AIO with either another AIO or we replace it with an air cooler. Or the third option is you contact Corsair to see if it's if your unit is still under warranty, because it might still be under warranty. I don't know. See if it has the serial number and everything in here. You're going to wait and get the AIO. So you want me to order the Thermalright 360 millimeter in white? I can text you a link to it to show you what it looks like. Ben, I'd run something to see if the temps are running good. It might be a software issue. I don't think so. I keep seeing the liquid temps spiking pretty hard in the Corsair app, and we're just idling, so it should be pretty consistent because we're not doing anything. And the CPU temps have climbed. Just sitting. That's a sign that the hoses are starting to get a little warm. So those are all signs that a pump is not running. Yeah, we're getting up to 50 Celsius at an idle sitting here. Hoses are starting to get a little warm. That means the liquid's sitting. Yeah, the sensor in the pump can fail, causing the system to ironically detect the pump failure with Corsair. That is true. But I mean, it's acting like a pump is failed. Oh, let's run it. Run something. Also, wasn't the AIO mounted in the bad way at the front of the case that kills pumps faster? Not necessarily, because the block or the pump was not the highest point of the loop, so technically it wouldn't be in a bad position. CPU immediately climbing up to 80, mid-80s. Got some left in the tank, I think, there. This 3070 likes to run hot. Was he having problems with CPU temps before? Not that I'm aware of. The reason why he brought it in is it was shutting off. Or the screen was going black, not the PC shutting off, but the screen was shutting off, and it was still playing sound as if the game or the application was still running in the background, but couldn't see anything. And then the GPU fans would kick on full speed. So wait, the AIO fail or the RGB? So it's the pump, and the Corsair software is forcing the AIO RGB to flash red, indicating there's a problem with the AIO. It says there's a pump failure. I'm running a benchmark right now just to see if these temps increase or get out of hand. And I gotta say, it's holding pretty well for a failed pump, quote unquote. It's 60 Celsius on an i9 9900K with a load. Pretty impressive for a failed pump. So I think your theory, Roy, is probably correct. It's probably a sensor that's failed. Which is weird. Normally you could feel the pump running. And there's no vibration. Hoses are a bit warm. There's like zero vibration there. Usually you could feel a pump. I just don't want it to melt the... Is any metal bracket touching plastic or anything else? It's just gonna melt if you let it go long enough. Yeah, I'm gonna let it get a little bit warmer and see what it does. Graphics card's holding though. It's holding, it's gotten to a maximum of 90 Celsius and it's holding pretty strong there. But I'm putting a serious load on it, so... Does the software show the RPMs of the pump? No, it does not. It says there's a pump failure and it's 0 RPM. Time for bed? I hear you, Steve. Good night, sir. Well, thank you for hanging out with us. I know it got late. Hey, what's up, Plu? Welcome to the build show. I think the air cooler would be cleaner in the case. Yeah, I think either a AIO or an air cooler in here would look nice. Would the BIOS show the pump RPMs? It would not, no. Just because the design of this AIO, it doesn't plug into the header. It has a CPU fan header, which I moved over to the pump to see if it would read it, and it doesn't. In your personal opinion, what is the worst 50 series video card? The 5060 is the worst. The 8GB 5060. And then the 56, or actually, you know, I take that back. The 5060 Ti 8GB is the most pointless piece of crap they've ever released. Same thing with the 4060 Ti 8GB. Might as well get the Thermalright 360 for the same 50 bucks. Yeah, I mean at that point. 5060 8GB to be heard. I mean the 5060 8GB makes more sense than the 5060 Ti 8GB. That is just retarded. They should have just released a 5060 Ti at 16 gigs and called it a day. Never even released a 5060 Ti 8GB. The 16GB would have been all they needed. That's weird. Yeah, I agree with you, Roy. Frozen Note, the gold standard. I mean, that would be the way. This is the way. Star Wars quote. Mandalorian. So, I'm thinking we will be just replacing it with the 360mm. I'll talk to you, Jacob, tomorrow morning, and see what you want to do. Because right now, whether or not the software says the pump failed, it's running just fine. So. The hottest the CPU got on that benchmark was 60 Celsius, so it's... I don't know what to say. Liquid temps got up to 46 Celsius, and that was it. That, to me, sounds like a pump's running. Or liquid is somehow moving. The fact my 3060 has the same amount of VRAM as a 57 is kind of annoying to think about, not gonna lie. Is that GDDR7, GDDR6, but you feel me? Yeah, I feel you. The VRAM amount isn't that, you know, doesn't define the performance of a GPU. So the 5060 8 gig will probably, most definitely, outperform the 12 gigabyte RTX 3060. And one of the main reasons is the frame generation, the frame gen, and the generation of the frame gen that it has. And most titles are going that direction to support the frame gen. But as the NVIDIA CEO says, not everyone needs 8 gigs of VRAM. The 3060 has 16 gigs of VRAM, by the way. It does not. It's 12. It's 12, and then they have an 8 gig version, which was a cheap way of getting people to accidentally buy the 8 gig version instead of the 12 for almost the same price, which was a marketing scheme by NVIDIA. Yeah, it's 12. I think 12 is barely enough, honestly. Nah. You can game on 8 gigs. If you're sitting there saying 12 gigs or 8 gigs isn't enough, then you're just watching the YouTube brainwashing. You can game comfortably on 8 gigs of VRAM. It's the card that's going to matter. So let's say you have an 8 gig an 8 gigabyte 1070 Ti or 1070. Yeah, that's a 10-year-old card. It doesn't have the frame gen that a RTX 5060 has, which is also an 8 gig card, and that one's going to kick the 1070 Ti's ass upside down, blindfolded. But it's frame gen. That's the key. Is newer frame gen better? VRAM does matter to a certain point when it comes to your screen resolution, from 1080p to 1440p. 8 gigs is pretty much limited to 1080p. But you can definitely have an enjoyable gaming experience at 1080p still today. I mean, it doesn't have to be 1440p or 4K or 8K. That's the brainwashing of the YouTubes. Everybody says, oh, you gotta have more than 8 gigs of VRAM to enjoy a game. That's a lie. You could definitely enjoy a game with 8 gigs of VRAM. Just make sure it's a newer 8 gig VRAM card. I know. I loved my 1070 Ti. Some people would say I made love to it. But I didn't. It just sat in my computer and ran hard. Hell, my 3080 10 gigabyte is still kicking ass. Exactly. The 8 gig VRAM thing that everybody comes in here and talks about, it's just brainwashing from NVIDIA, honestly. They want you to think 8 gigs of VRAM isn't enough to enjoy gaming. So when you come into the industry and you're looking for video cards and you start researching and watching videos and everybody says 8 gigs of VRAM isn't enough, it's a lie. It's to get you to go buy a 5070 Ti or 5080, a 16 gig card, spend more money. But if all you're trying to do is, you know, entry gaming and 1080p and just casual, you don't want to spend over $1,000 or $1,500 on your rig, then 1080p with an 8 gig card, you could even get a 16 gig card with an RX 9060 XT at $1,500 or 5060 Ti. 16 gigabyte card at that price point. And have a pretty nice system capable of doing 1440p or 1080p, but my point is, you can enjoy gaming on an 8 gig card in 1080p. I wish I had the money for a 3080. I mean, 3080s are coming down in price like crazy. I just saw them for like 300 bucks on Marketplace today, or a couple days ago. What's that CPU? Is Ryzen 7 7700? Typical viewer? I don't know what you mean by that. This one in here is a Intel i9 9900K. I want to play 4K 60 FPS on my TV though. Gotcha. Definitely 12 gigs is not enough. I heard it's so system builds can hide it in title without people knowing. Could be misinformation. Burn. I heard it so system builds can hide it in the title. Yeah, maybe. McDonald's is always hiring. Ouch. Mind's Eye launch is a disaster. For most games in 2K, you can still play almost anything on 8 gigs of VRAM. I know. I actually have a 3070 Ti and I 1440p game, but I mean, I don't play crazy games like AAA titles anymore. I just play 1080p, 1440p. I play 1440p PUBG, and then I play, I guess, 1440p Beyond All Reason. Those are really two games that I enjoy playing because everything they've released is kind of trash, in my opinion. I just haven't enjoyed it. When I say they, I mean all of those game developers out there need to go look at the history books and see what good games were back in the day. Yeah, I know. The hourly minimum wage has changed drastically. Yes, yes, that is the correct way to say it. 12 gigs is barely enough to do 4K. Yeah, it would struggle. Preferably with 4K, you want to get at least 16 for comfortable, smooth performance. All right, dude, you're pissing me off. Fly away. Yeah. Games have been lacking a lot other than the Souls games. Yeah, I don't play those, so I don't know. They are very money driven more than wanting games to actually be good. Exactly, that's what I'm saying is eventually I think the gaming industry is gonna stall out here, which it kind of already is in the process of, and then they're gonna have to actually start making quality titles again. What are the temps at? CPU temps are currently holding at 45 Celsius. Between 44 and 45, flickering back and forth. I think if it was a bad pump, it would be overheating by now. Not too long ago, they had a dollar menu, could get 3 people full meals for $10. Oh, yeah. Yeah, our small family, which there's 3 of us, or 4 of us eating, and then the littlest doesn't eat that food yet. But there's 4 of us that order, and I think our meal, with the discounts from the app, come out to like $40. And the girls, you know, get their little fancy drinky poos from McDonald's, like their Moco Machu whatever drinky poo. I don't know what drinks they get. I like black coffee. or a tea. Or Coke Zero. Those are my 3 drinks when I go somewhere. If there's a bar, I'll ask for whiskey. Just slap an Empower Gaming sticker on the pump and call it a day. Yeah. I remember getting 12 burgers for 13 bucks. Holy smokes. If you're eating 12 burgers, you should probably look at the NFL. It might need you on a line somewhere. Robert, welcome back to the Build Chill. Totally reinstall IQ. I have it search for connected devices. Could clear it up. That's what I'll try here. I'll try it after when I get off the stream here and mess around with it and see if I can do anything before I order anything. Because pump seems to be holding temps. Whether or not I can feel it, and if the hose feel warmer, but they don't feel like scorching hot. They're warm. Then they cool down as I get higher up here. So, pump's definitely moving liquid. I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. I agree though. Reinstalling IQ. Maybe checking to see if there's a firmware upgrade or something. Could be the stupid block in the back causing the problem. And chicks like nuggies, lie nuggies. My drink of choice is root beer. Root beer's good. I like root beer. I just try to avoid sugar. So I try to avoid the fast food. 5070 has a 192 bus, 192-bit, yep. 4070 Ti Super has a 256 bus, but the difference is the GDDR7 memory, which is more bandwidth on that memory. So that's why it's a lesser bus. If you look at the history of cards coming out or releasing, the bus has continuously gotten smaller and smaller and smaller. Or the bit size, the bit bandwidth size has gotten smaller. Yeah, he said it was flashing for a while, so I'm gonna say it's got something to do with Corsair IQ. Yep. That's my conclusion for now. I'll update you guys on the Discord server if somebody asks and reminds me to update what I find. But no, the pump reports in as 0 RPM. So that's why the software's freaking out, probably. We'll give that a go and see what it does, and I'll report back. I'm not going to do it here on the stream. It's already 1:16 in the morning. And I've got a semi-early day tomorrow, so I've got to wind down, get some sleep. And then I'll fiddle with this tomorrow morning and see what I can figure out with a cup of coffee. My mom will call oh, nice. As my daughter says, nice. 11:16 for you. Oh man. Yeah, this is Eastern time, man. Thanks for the stream, everybody. Have a good night. Yeah, thank you. Maybe the pump just isn't running at full speed. I don't know. I think it's a Corsair software problem, to be honest. I agree with everybody's suggestions here. It's either a bad sensor, Corsair software problem, or something in Corsair somewhere. But the pump is definitely moving liquid because it's definitely keeping the temps down. And I'm reading that from HW Monitor. So it's doing something somewhere, somehow, but the software says otherwise. We'll figure it out tomorrow. Have a good night, guys. Thanks for joining us. I'm glad we hung out watching Jacob's PC transition into what it is now with the flashing red, quote-unquote, pump failure. We'll figure it out tomorrow. Have a good night, guys. See you on the next one tomorrow. We're going to be building again tomorrow night. We'll see you live tomorrow. Have a good night.